Over the last few days, I've made a couple videos about quarterback battles for the 2023 season. It seems that you guys really enjoyed those videos, so I thought we're to go ahead and make a part 3 and talk about 6 more schools and 6 more quarterback battles for the 2023 season. It's going to be a good video, but before we get started, be sure to subscribe if you are new and love college football, leave a like if you want to help support the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload, and let me know a quarterback battle I missed, or a topic, player, team, or situation I could cover in my next video. Now let's go ahead and get started. The first school we're going to talk about is Baylor. The Bears have had an interesting quarterback situation over the last few years, as you had a long run with Charlie Brewer, and then you went on to Gary Bohannon, and last year Blake Shapen. Both of them were solid quarterbacks, but Shapen didn't really do enough to solidify the job, and now he's going to have to fight off 2 more players for that starting gig. For a while, it looked like Austin Novosad was going to go to Baylor, as he was one of the highest rising quarterbacks in the class of 2023, but near signing day, he flipped to Oregon, and Aranda lost his big quarterback. They also lost Kyron Drones to Virginia Tech, and now there's going to be a battle between Blake Shapen, Sawyer Robertson, and RJ Martinez. All 3 of them have a legit opportunity. Shapen will have the most experience on the roster, as he threw for nearly 3,000 yards and 18 touchdowns last year. Sawyer Robertson was a huge recruit coming out of high school, as he was the number 16 quarterback, a 4-star player, and the 134th best player in the class of 2021. He went to Mississippi State, but he was stuck behind Will Rogers and decided to transfer in. He has a chance. Finally, you have RJ Martinez, who's the wild card of the bunch, as coming out of Austin, Texas, he was a low-level recruit and went to Northern Arizona. I believe he beat Arizona in 2021, but last year he threw for nearly 3,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. All 3 of these guys are pretty similar, but if I had to pick right now, I'd say Shapen wins, Martinez is the backup, and Robertson is more so the guy for the future. But what do you guys think? Looking down in the comment section in my last 2 videos, I've seen a lot of you guys ask for me to talk about Tennessee. In my opinion, there's really not that much of a quarterback battle going on there, but I guess we will at least address it. Joe Milton, in my opinion, played well enough at the end of the year to deserve the starting job, and I don't think that Nico's going to start over him. Milton has been groomed in this system for the last 2 years, and if he could just put it all together, he's going to be a star in the league, but that is a major what if. He was compared to Cam Newton coming out of high school and didn't really do a whole lot at Michigan or in his start and a half at Tennessee, but many believe he's the next big thing, and right now I'd say Milton easily has that starting job, but at the same time, Nico Lamalieva is not just going to give up and become the backup. He's one of the top quarterbacks we've seen in the last few years, as he combined for over 30 touchdowns and 2,000 yards as a senior, as he grew up in California and is currently a 5-star recruit. Some consider him the 2nd or 3rd best quarterback in this year's class, and he apparently signed a hefty NIL deal, so Nico's going to come in and compete right away. For a while, some believed that Taven Jackson was also going to be in the mix, but he decided to transfer back home to Indiana, where he'll likely be the starting quarterback for the Hoosiers right away. I think it's pretty clear that Joe Milton will probably be the guy, but if Nico is as good as advertised, and Heupel doesn't have any bias in the situation, then maybe the battle will be closer than we think, and we could see either of these 2 guys start. What do you guys think? The next school we are going to address is Virginia Tech. Brent Pry will be in his 2nd year as the head coach there, and he will have a lot of work to do at the quarterback spot. Last year we saw the Hokies split time between Jason Brown and Grant Wells, but with Brown off to the portal, Wells will likely be the frontrunner for this year's starting gig, but there will be 2 players that I want to watch out for. The first is William Watson III. Currently he's a 2023 commit from Springfield, Massachusetts. He's only a 3-star recruit, but he's one of those players that a lot of people have been talking about behind the scenes, and with neither of the 2 guys in front of him really being that established, it would not at all shock me if Watson at least got a chance to start, or at least an opportunity to play. After that, the guy who I really think has a good chance at starting is Kyron Drones. Contrary to Watson, Drones was very highly recruited coming out of high school. He was a number 28 quarterback and a 4-star recruit in the class of 2021 and was an absolute superstar at Shadow Creek High School in Pearland, Texas. He decided to go to Baylor, but he was eventually stuck in a logjam at quarterback, and with them likely bringing in Martinez and Novosad, Drones said that he was out and wanted to go start. It is now going to come down to him and Wells for the starting gig. Wells is a really interesting case. He threw for 2,171 yards with 9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He wasn't very efficient and didn't really score the ball that much, but he did show a lot of flash at Marshall while he was there. He is familiar with the system and has the most experience of anyone on the roster. I think Wells will once again be the week 1 starter, but we'll likely see Drones by the end of the year in my opinion. What do you guys think? If there's one school that truly has a logjam at the quarterback position, it has to be Nebraska. The Huskers literally have 6 guys on the roster who are highly recruited or were at least recruited to play at some point. First-year head coach Matt Rule's going to have to sort through all of this. He's going to have a lot of options, and he's likely going to have some guys transfer out of the program. I actually didn't know it, but Casey Thompson came back for the 2023 season, and right now I think he'll likely be the backup. Yes, he did start last year, but in my opinion, I wasn't overly impressed with him. And if Rule was really sold with him, he wouldn't have brought in Jeff Sims. Sims was a super highly recruited quarterback in the class of 2020 who spent 3 years as a starter at Georgia Tech and has a lot more potential than Thompson does. The one thing I will say against Sims is that he has struggled with injury, but more than likely he's the starter. Where the real question mark arises is who will be third string. The first 2 guys who are on the outside looking in are one, Richard Torres, who was a part of the class of 2022 from San Antonio, and then Heinrich Harburg, who was a class of 2021 kid who was a 3-star athlete out of Kearney, Nebraska. Both of those guys are likely going to be holding the clipboard, and if they were wise, would probably transfer out of the program to a smaller school where they could play, because they're just not going to see the field. The 2 other highly recruited players in front of them will be one, Logan Smothers, who was a huge recruit in the class of 2020, and then Chuba Purdy, who was also very highly recruited. Both of them were 4 stars, and when they got an opportunity to play, did not really look that good. They're in that second tier of quarterbacks at Nebraska right now, and I at least expect one to transfer at some point. Right now, the Huskers have 6 quarterbacks on the roster, and that just makes no sense, so I'd expect at least a third to a half of them to leave at some point. If you're a Nebraska fan, who do you want to start at the quarterback position, and who do you think will win between Sims and Thompson? Be sure to let me know down below. New head coach Joey McGuire has done wonders at Texas Tech, as they showed a lot of flash in year 1. At the quarterback spot, things are going to get interesting. Tyler Shuck was the original starter, but eventually Donovan Smith took over, and he looked really good, but he transferred. You also had Baron Morton play a little bit, and going into this year, there's going to be a 2-way battle between Baron Morton and Tyler Shuck. As we all know, Shuck was highly recruited coming out of high school and spent some time at Oregon before he transferred to Texas Tech. Unfortunately, he has not been able to stay healthy for an entire season, and last year was the same story. He'll have the most experience of any quarterback on the roster, but his shelf life and durability aren't in his favor, and at some point it might be time to move on from him. That's where I think there's a good chance that Baron Morton actually wins the job. Morton was a big-time recruit coming out of Eastland, Texas, and last year got a couple of opportunities to play. He finished with 1,117 yards, with 7 touchdowns and 6 picks. Morton showed immense flash in some of those games, and is definitely the future of the program, so in my opinion, I think they should hand in the keys and let him go. You also have an outside shot of Jake Strong getting a chance, as he's a 3-star recruit in the class of 2023, and another one of those 3-star players that I think is better than his ranking, but he's probably someone who will compete in the next couple of years and not this year. And I think Morton should win the job, but Shuck might get an opportunity to be the Week 1 starter. Red Raiders fans, let me know your thoughts. The last school we're going to talk about is the program that I think has the worst quarterback room in all of Power 5 football and is in some deep trouble when it comes to the position. That is Cal. Not only have they struggled to really have a lot of good quarterback play over the last few years, but their best quarterback, Jack Plummer, decided to transfer to Louisville, and I understand that because he played for Jeff Brom at Purdue there. But then Kai Milner decided to transfer away too. Milner was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school and was 100% probably going to be the guy. Unless there's something I don't know about, it seemed like Milner was going to be the quarterback. Instead, he transferred away, and all you have is a former walk-on, a former 2-star recruit, and then a transfer. The cupboard is pretty bare for the Golden Bears, and the first guy we need to talk about is Tyler Jensen. He's actually a Trevor Lawrence lookalike, and he went on to go to Louisville before he has since transferred to Cal, and I believe he was a walk-on. At this point, he does have a shot at winning the job because of how bad the quarterback room is, but I doubt it'll end up happening. The guy who will more than likely be the backup is Fernando Mendoza, who went to Columbus High School in Miami. It's one of those big-time high schools in the area, and he'll more than likely be the backup. The final guy we need to talk about is Sam Jackson. I talked about him earlier in the video as he transferred away from TCU, but coming out of Chicago, Jackson had a ridiculously weird recruitment. At first, he was committed to Minnesota, then he flipped to Purdue, and then he went to TCU. After holding the clipboard, he decided to enter the transfer portal, and he saw an opportunity at Cal and is going to probably run with it. As I said, he'll probably be by far the most talented quarterback in that room, and if he doesn't win the job, then maybe he was extremely overrated. Sam Jackson will take over as the starter, and I assume Cal will lean on their ground game as they return one of the best sophomore running backs in the country in Jaden Ott, and brought in a couple of big names in the portal. Right now, Cal is in a really difficult spot as a program, and Justin Wilcox's seat is starting to get hotter and hotter by the year, and him having a pretty bad quarterback room is not going to help. So yeah, in today's video we talked about 6 more schools with quarterback battles, went through the guys, talked about who I think should win, and now it's time for your thoughts. Let me know down below what you think of each battle, let me know another school I missed, and also another player topic, team, or situation I could cover next. Also, before you go, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.